From the world of AV programming and control with James King, I'm Steve Greenblatt, and this is Ask the Programmer. Hey, James, how are you today? It's good to be back with you for another exciting episode.
Great to be back, Steve. I'm doing good. And how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. If you missed our last episode, please uh, take a listen back to episode 166, where we welcomed Jeff Hopkins from Crestron, who's the technical director of the Crestron Services Provider program. And we welcome him back on this episode. So welcome back, Jeff.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, James.
Thanks for being with us. And those of you who listened to the last episode, you got a little bit of a preview, and we figured we would continue the conversation about risk averse programming and how to evolve in a way that is effective and can be done and managed properly, if you will, but being able to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. So, James, I'll kind of let you take this a little bit, because I know that you're a big advocate of learning, and you're also always looking to push yourself and grow. What's a good formula for a programmer who is naturally risk averse to expand their skills, but avoid getting kind of boxed into always doing the same things?
So let me answer that with a little story. I don't know if I said this or not. This was actually advice I got in high school from a friend, and it actually drove me down the path of IT and set me up where I am today. I was very risk averse when it came to working on computers. Like I was very cautious, and I was in a computer class with one of my classmates, and we were talking, and I mentioned that. It's like I mentioned that I was very cautious. And he looked at me and goes, "Get in there and play with stuff. If you mess it up, you learn not to do that again, and you learn how to fix it." I took that to heart. And I think that is the same with programming is get out there, play with things. If you mess it up, you learn not to do that again, and you learn to fix it quickly. I have made many mistakes for my whole career here. But I would say probably the best way is set up a test environment. Don't put yourself in productions. I guess I have made mistakes on production networks before. I will fully admit that. I've done it too many times to count. But again, put yourself in a test environment, build a test environment. I am sure all of us have spare gear laying around that we can just throw in a rack and play with. Now, if you break something, okay, you move on, you learn to fix it, but you're not hurting production.
Jeff, I I'd like to kind of get your thoughts on this, because a lot of the people you deal with, a lot of them are have a large stake in the success of their projects and the success, their own success, if you will. And their reputation is always going to be on the line, and in every time they do a project. What would you recommend for either CSPs, independent programmers, or in-house programmers to help them grow and kind of get over that fear of taking a risk, as James said?
Well, the first thing I will say to that, and I did a little exercise here recently for some internal Crestron things that I was working on, and part of that was evaluating continuing education. And so I actually had looked at my own training records before I got certified and after I got certified. And to say it was a cliff would be an understatement. Before I was certified, I was taking a bunch of online classes. I was doing the in-person classes, getting the information, trying to stay up to speed. Once I got certified, I went to masters, and that was about it. And what I've realized is there's so much other information out there, whether it be on Crestron's CTI portal, other industry portals, Avixa certifications, Avixa trainings. There's so much out there that the first thing that programmers need to realize is they truly don't know everything, and understand they don't know everything, and accept that that's okay, and understand that we have to move together and forward to make sure we move our industry forward. I know personally, I'm struggling at times where the industry's at because it feels stagnant. You know, in 2018, I felt like we were moving the solutions from a conference room solution or a training room solution to more of a facility solution and getting buildings as a whole. Well, then, you know, everybody knows what happened in 2019. Not going to rehash that, but we then completely changed path, and now we went to simple, very specific use case systems, and the idea of automation went away. And so what I'm saying is take a step back, learn, and by learning, reach out to Crestron, reach out to Microsoft, reach out to Zoom, reach out to Cisco, reach out to any of the parties that you work with on a daily basis, see what training classes they have, figure out how we can incorporate those technologies into these solutions at a facility-wide, building-wide concept to grow our industry collectively. I mean, it is on our programmers to take that step forward. Our sales teams are going to sell what you program. And if you're just going to keep programming the same thing, well, they're just going to keep selling the same thing. I think the biggest example I will put out here right now is Microsoft Graph API. That if you're not familiar with it, please take a look at Crestron Masters videos. There's plenty of documentation on what it is. But in short, it's basically opening up the world of Microsoft data to go do things with. And when you enter that realm, an entire new world of possibilities really open up for you as a programmer to enhance the user experience. You know, things are changing rapidly in the IT space. And for us in the AV world to stay up with them, we have to understand that we don't know those things and we need to start learning them and not being afraid to. I personally have my own goals. I myself am a silver certified programmer. I've not done my gold certification in years. I've been qualified for quite a bit of time, but it's really been the rationale behind it was I'm not a simple sharp C# programmer. And I know I need that knowledge set. Well, I've set my own goals this year. I spend 2 to 4 hours a week trying to dive into some of these new technologies, new programming capabilities to push myself forward because, you know, James, the story you mentioned was fantastic. You know, one of my favorite movies is National Treasure. And there's a phrase in there was that Thomas Edison did not fail 1,000 times in making a light bulb. He just figured out 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. And so I think we have to do that and understand, especially as we take these next steps in the program evolution of programming, that risk is going to be inherent if all we try to do is deploy on site. It is more important now than it's ever been to have a processor that you can do some dev work on. Figure out what works, what doesn't work. How do you do authentication? What does modern authentication actually even mean? And, you know, start working with it now so that way when it does become a requirement to do something, you feel comfortable with it.
That's really great advice. I think that there's a lot that programmers can benefit from there, and I mean that's tremendous. I wanted to get James' thought about, you know, I agree with what Jeff is saying about like we've kind of been stagnant for some time, you know, and a lot of times we go year to year and to different shows and say, oh, nothing big happened, nothing, the industry isn't progressing. Is there a way that programmers can help influence that?
Oh, I agree. First, real quick comment on Jeff. Yeah, I like that line from that movie as well. And I add to it, there's another one. I mean, there's tons of them out there, but the other one is um, I don't lose. I either win or I learned. And that's how, again, it's how we apply ourselves. But yeah, I think programmers can push that envelope because everything we do, like, okay, we throw a display in a room. Great. Then what? Okay, display. We can put the best display we want in the room. But if you're not putting the content out there, if you can't control it, you can't do anything with it. It's just a paperweight hanging on the wall. So that's where us programmers coming involved. We take all these, I'll say it again, all these paperweights, and we make them work together to do nice things. And now, if we don't push that envelope, we don't learn, and we keep within our feet. And it's great hearing Jeff say this too, because I've been saying from day one, AV is they suck their feet in the ground and are like, I ain't not moving. And IT is like, okay, we're gonna go around you. I know Jeff skated around that what happened in 2019. And I'll skate around too, but I think besides what happened there, but I think another reason why we see this simplification of rooms and stuff and not this automation that we are all eager to do is because of the AV folks are sticking their feet in the ground, go, I'm not moving. And IT is like, well, I'm going to move, make it simple. I just need to get this done and move on. And now manufacturers are doing that, making it simple for IT folks, true IT folks, to get the job done and move on. And then we sit here and go, well, that's not done right. Well, you know what? The job's done. They're moving on. Who cares if it's done right?
And I'll throw out there too is you're right. They stick their feet in the ground and they hold firm to a pathway. And here's what I would challenge the programming community. So, my challenge to you guys, go out there and figure out what else you have available to help you evolve your programming. And I'm not necessarily talking about training. I'm talking about, different tools. There's companies out there that they develop and they design drivers and extensions and modules that they're actually taking the risk. They're the ones that are actually, on the hook to ensure that these third-party device implementations that they are creating and then that they are then selling or providing the community are where they need to be. Leverage those tools to get where you need to go in a more effective and faster manner. A lot of those are, let's say there's a new display out there that requires modern authentication, that it has no 232 connection. That's the only way you can control that display. And, one of our CSP partners out there has a driver. Well, they've taken the risk. They've actually trained themselves up to understand how to create that. You may not be there, but I can tell you they're going to write it in a way that allows you to implement it into your systems. So they take the risk, but you are, evolving your capabilities by leveraging those tools. And there's plenty of them out there that you can go out and look for to help guide you in those directions.
I wholeheartedly agree. I have a little bit of bias there, but it's the fact that programmers a lot of times have to focus what I see at least on the business logic. Those are like kind of the generalist programmers. They're looking at what does the user need, what does the functionality that I can provide, how can I make all of these things work together in the way that's going to suit this user best and optimize their experience. There are those that just focus on building those components that the generalist programmer just needs to be able to put together. So it's a really good point. Not to say that any of them is more important than the other. It's just a different focus on an area of programming and different specialization.
And I would say, again, we all get stuck in the way we've done things historically. No, there's other tools out there that you can leverage to help you. You may not know, but you can go out and get some of those tools. Steve, like you said, yeah, you might be a little biased because I know that's what your company's focus really is around building those tools, but there's dozens of other ones out there as well, and not one company has all of them. So don't be afraid to go out and look at them and understand that there are possibilities there to help you become more successful.
As we wrap up, it kind of brings up an interesting topic that I wasn't really planning on talking about, but one of the things in the development community, at least that I've been following, is the idea that developers can become more designers and architects, and they can use AI and other tools to write code for them. Do we see that same approach happening in AV? Jeff, I'll let you take a crack at it.
Oh yeah, you're just setting this up for me, huh? Um,
And
oh,
you don't have to focus on AI. We've recently talked a lot about AI, but what I'm thinking about is the programmer can come up with the ideas and they define what they need. They don't necessarily have to be the one that writes all the code.
correct. And I will play with AI for a second. I've had many conversations around AI. Steve, I would say I think even you and I had a conversation about this recently about where does AI play in our realm, and it's important to understand. My wife is a teacher, right? She does high school education. The hard part we're having, I would say this in the AV industry as well, but holistically, people don't understand how to use AI effectively to help them do their job. I've gotten code. I've had people send me code that I can look at and go, this is not authored by a human. This is an AI generated code base that you are trying to just make work and say it's yours. On the other hand, I use AI as a starting tool. I'm pretty good at getting something and then working with it to take me to where I need to go. Where I can struggle is at just that first line, that first piece of code, that first aspect. So I use AI a lot of times as an origination point for what I'm trying to accomplish. When you look at the evolvement of our industry, I think we have to be cognizant it's there. And unfortunately, the CSP community is growing and understanding how to utilize this, I believe. And that's important to note because, as we continue to evolve as an AV industry, we're at risk of people just trying to build something in AI and write it off as hey, this will work. That's not going to happen. That's not where we're at. At least it's not where we're at today, and I don't think it's going to be where we're at in any short term. It's an evolution piece. It's a tool that we have to understand to learn how to utilize.
James, I'll let you have the last word on this. You know, do we see that programmers evolving their skills to almost become the like become the specifiers of how systems should work and the functionality and not necessarily have to dwell on the actual code writing?
I think if you're not already moving that way with or without AI, I mean, we should be good moving that way anyway. If you are just see yourself as pure code writer, you're putting yourself in a box. You really need to know the whole system holistically, and we've covered that numerous. Now talking about the AI, and I'll give a little couple shout outs here. One, um, uh, the Aviation State of Control episode with Richie, Uncle Richie. Great one where they talked about AI and stuff. And I loved how he compared using AI as an intern. Us programmers, how many times do you have a junior programmer? You go, here, go write this. They give you back something. You look at it and go, nope, you're not right. Go back and fix it. You could do the same thing with AI. One, you have to know what it is that you can tell them to go fix it. And the great thing, as Uncle Richie said, is when you say AI, go back and fix this, you don't hurt their feelings. AI has no feelings. I mean, we all put our blood, sweat, and tears into our projects that we do. I mean, even as a junior programmer, and if you go and you're proud of this and you go and give it to your boss and they come back and go, nope, you're wrong, go fix it. That hurts you. It takes you back for a moment, but you also get better by it. You're like, okay, some people, if you shut down, you don't get better, but at least AI doesn't get their feelings hurt. You can tell it 100 times, 1,000 times, no, you're wrong, go fix this. But that goes with what Jeff's saying. You have to be able to learn and know and grow to know that like what you're getting from the AI is not what you need, is not proper, is not done right. Because AI will be bad. I mean, I just heard this the other day. I kind of found humorous is, have you heard about the response AI gave when someone asked it how to keep cheese from sliding off pizza? It
I did
told them,
actually.
it pulled a Reddit thread from a guy who was joking, who said, put glue in it. I
Welcome to
didn't know it was a
open source
joke.
data.
Yeah. So AI didn't know the joke, and if people don't follow, and I mean, don't realize and actually take the information that's given to them, is this valid? Is this true? And take it as source, and take it as, the truth. We're going to start having glue in our pizza. And I don't know about you. I think, Crescendo here. What, which would you rather, pineapple or glue on your pizza?
Very true. The other thing I would actually throw out there, and I've done this actually with my kids, is I've used AI as a tool to understand how you get information. Because, as a programmer, we can only program to what we are being provided as a scope of work. And a lot of those scopes of work have to be very detailed. And if you play with an AI engine, if you've ever sat in front of one, you got to really understand it's the input and the data that you provide it, and the sandbox that you create is going to help it be successful. And it's a good exercise, and it's interesting to see over time how you learn to provide and present information in a way that makes sense long term to help get you to that end result faster.
I think that's a good place for us to wrap this one up. But a great conversation, and I would like to continue it some more. And a good place to do that, as I mentioned in the previous episode, is our LinkedIn Ask the Programmer group. So please join us there. You'll be able to comment on this episode, and also let us know what you think about both AI and how programmers can evolve their skills, and your thoughts on being risk averse. But thank you so much, Jeff. It's been two really great episodes, and we'll be certain to have you back. Until then, how can people get in touch with you, learn more about Crestron, learn more about the CSP program?
Absolutely. If you have questions on the CSP program, cspinfo@crestron.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can reach out to me there as well. Additionally, don't be a shy. Reach out to your local TDs, ask questions. Quick plug: we're doing a bunch of road trainings and field trainings with our engineering and programming community. So if you haven't been asked or engaged, ask your Crestron TD or your Crestron rep what they have around the corner. Because I think you'd be surprised. There's probably something that can come to you and your teams to help you evolve, and in the end, minimize that risk so you feel more ready to move forward. Just circled it up. That's the way you close the door right there.
Great tie-in. Thank you so much. And now I also have to mention that James talked about a state of control, which is another podcast that I'm involved with on avnation.tv. Episodes 116 and 117 happen to be on Crestron Masters. And the one that James mentioned specifically, 117, was very AI focused. So check those out. James, how could people get in touch with you, continue the conversation, and learn what you're up to?
As I say, always Google me, you'll find me. Again, I'm out there, Twitter, X, at AV_James King, LinkedIn, in the LinkedIn group, anything with HEPMA, anything, again, Google me, you'll find me. I'm out there.
Excellent. And I do have to mention that this episode and podcast of Ask the Programmer is supported by Control Concepts, which is my company, and Control Concepts develops building blocks for AV programmers to help make programming easier and make projects go smoother, whether it's modules, drivers, plugins, API integrations. We have what you need. Just visit controlconcepts.net and you can get more information on that. If you'd like to be a supporter of the show and have your organization mentioned, please reach out to James or me, and we'd really like to have you. For me personally, you can reach me at Steve Greenblatt on social media, and be glad to meet with you and talk more either in person or on the Ask the Programmer group on LinkedIn. So check us out there, and let's keep this conversation going as we build the AV programmer community. And until next time, this has been Ask the Programmer.